Hi, my name is Sara Bergman. I'm from Sweden, but I live in Oslo, Norway since 1.5 years ago. I am a software engineer at Microsoft Development Center in Norway, where I work as a backend engineer for a team of people who build people services with over 1 billion monthly active users. I was an intern in that same team 3 years ago, 2017. And before that, I had also been an intern at Norwegian browser company Opera, as well as Swedish-Finnish telecom company Telia Sonera. Last year, I was also an intern mentor at Microsoft, and this year I am an intern mentor again. So, as you might have guessed from the frequent mention of the word intern, that is what we'll talk about today. Interns are a great resource to your company. They are eager students who just might end up being stellar new employees when they graduate if you succeed as an intern mentor. But not only that, they can also become amazing ambassadors for your company on their university. That can either be a formal or an informal ambassador. And what I mean by a formal ambassador is a student that you hire and pay for them to arrange activities on campus or work as that bridge between your company and the students. An informal ambassador, on the other hand, is an intern who's just so happy about their experience that they can't help themselves from telling all of their friends what an amazing summer they just had. And take it from someone who wasn't a student that long ago, students do talk to each other. So if someone had a bad experience as an intern, they will let their friends know. So it's up to you to make sure they have only good things to say. And interns might also teach you more than you think during their stay at your company. In a nutshell, an internship is a mutual chance, both for your intern to get to know your company and for you to get to know the intern. So when you hire back an intern into your company, they have a much greater sense of what they're diving into than a new hire who you perhaps only interviewed for 2 hours. And I also suspect that many of you might have remote interns this year, and that means that preparation is more important than everything. So this is too good of an opportunity to miss out on. And in the next few minutes, I will outline the key factors for a successful internship, both for you and for your intern. So first things first, onboarding is everything. And interns are different than a new hire. With a new hire, you have a lot more time and you need to introduce them to the full life cycle of your service, the history of your team, how you do DevOps, how you interact with other teams. But with an intern, time is the most scarce resource, and you don't have time for a full onboarding, and frankly, there's need for one either. So when you're onboarding an intern, what you want to do is to give them just enough so that they can feel a strong connection to your team and to your product, but you don't want to give them so much that you overwhelm them. Basically, what you want to do is give them little tiny hooks inside their mind, which they can hang their knowledge on later. So when they overhear a conversation or read some email, they will remember and like, oh, wait, yeah, I've heard something about this. This seems very familiar to me. So once you nailed that onboarding, it is now time for the actual content of the internship. And my best tip here is to have a bite-sized project ready from day one. It is even better if you can tell them about this project, a few weeks before that day one, so they can feel a little bit prepared. And what makes a good intern project? Well, first, it should take shorter time than the internship itself is likely to take. And that is because you really want them to feel what it's like to deploy something, potentially all the way out to your customers. And I know that that's been one of the things I valued the most with my internship, is just having that connection to the customers of the company in whatever big or small way that might be. It's very important. Also, the project should involve some sort of freedom in the implementation. The solution should not be dictated from the start. And that's because software engineers are really, really curious. You want to let them embrace that. And the project, it should be close to what your team is doing on a day-to-day basis, both so that they can actually get some help from your teammates and you, and also so that they can get a vibe what it would be like if they were a full-time employee. At the same time, you want the project to be separate enough so that they can solve it in their own pace without blocking anyone else, because that can be really stressful. So when talking about solving it, it should be possible to solve. Yes, we know that Huffman encoding was invented by a professor because he gave his students an impossible task and one of them was super smart, but that is not the goal here. The goal is a successful internship. So that means you should at least have an idea about how this can be solved. And that is because you don't want the interns to hit a block on week 2, which they end up never being able to get around. That was quite a lot of criteria for the intern project, and I realized that the sum of these might be the empty set, but this should be what you strive towards. Okay, so you onboarded them, you have a project. Next is mentor, mentor, mentor. And they should not feel alone in this, but play cool. No one likes having the mentor or the manager hanging over their shoulders, looking at their every move. So what you want to do is to partially mentor them on the project. You want to review their code, maybe they produce design documents, or talk about solutions. And if you can't do that, make sure you point them to resources who can do that for them. But secondly, this is very important to not forget, that is to mentor them as a potential future employee. Let them ask questions about the org structure, talk about the reward system, how do I get promoted, what different roles can I have? Really let them have a chance to get to know your company. And when I've been a mentor, this has been a really important piece for me to provide. But it's also a balancing act because you want to teach your interns how to fish rather than to fish for them. And there are also things an intern just might not feel comfortable asking their manager. I'm really sorry to all the managers listening into this call, but this might just be a little bit of a lower bar to ask a question to a mentor who is perhaps more similar in age or who has the actual role that the intern would like to have in a year's time. So last but not least, let them have fun. They should not feel cornered or pressure. I mean, honestly, they are giving up their precious summer vacation to come to work for you. So cut them some slack. If the project that we now know you spend a lot of time and energy creating, if that isn't vibing with them, find a different one. Or if they end up getting sidetracked and they spend a lot of time looking at unit tests or something else because they're very, very passionate about this, let them do that. Let them explore that. Who knows? They might even show you areas where your company could do better or things you should think more about. Let them be the producer of their own experience. This is also an excellent opportunity to showcase the culture of your company and let them take an active part in that. Maybe you have hackathons or stay late and code events. Make sure you invite the interns. And if you normally cancel these over the summer, don't keep them going. Let them come in and really be a part of that culture. And you maybe even want to consider making special intern events. This is something that we at Microsoft do for our interns. We let them suggest things and then we support them in creating these events. And if you have interns coming from outside of your country and outside of your city, this can be an excellent way to showcase the best parts of your city, because you might want the interns to move here in a year or two when they graduate. So take every opportunity. And every company has a different budget. And these intern event doesn't have to be huge things. It doesn't have to be a concert, or you don't have to give them an Xbox. It can be things like buying food for a hackathon over the weekend, or taking them on a tour on the coolest part of your company, or just having a picnic together in a nice park when the weather is lovely. The really important part is to make the internship feel like just a little bit more than that 9-to-5 job. Okay, that was a whirlwind. Let's repeat the most important things. 1, onboarding is everything. 2, have a bite-sized project ready from day 1. 3, mentor, 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 both on the project, but also as a potential future new employee. And 4, let them have fun. Thank you so much for listening. If you have any questions or comments or just want to discuss, talk all things intern, hook me up in Slack and we'll have a conversation.